Hello everyone. In this video we're going to graph piecewise with absolute value and linear functions. So first we're going to take the absolute value graph, which is right here, and we have the f of x, and just remember f of x is just like saying y. Alright, so I'm going to graph this with the graphing calculator. I'm going to show you an easy way to do this. So there are a couple of ways to get those absolute value bars in your calculator. One way is to press math and then move over to the right, and it'll be on one absolute value right there. So that's the way I usually do it, and get them up there. And this is x plus 3 inside the absolute value bars, and then just press to the right to get away from that. And you could press graph, and you could just look at that graph in blue, and you could see exactly that this represents an absolute value graph because it's in that V shape. So remember, this is a piece. Like piecewise means that they just want a piece of the graph, of this graph. So right here, what we're going to say, and I'm just going to teach you how to see exactly what piece that they want. And this says we're reading from the variable out left and then the variable to the right. So this says x is greater than or equal to -2 and x is less than or equal to 2. So x is greater than or equal to -2 and x is less than or equal to 2. What it really just, what it means is that they want the graph between these two numbers, and including, because it's or equal to. So I'm just going to move this over and down, and now I'm going to start and graph. I'm going to start to graph just the pieces that they want. I'm going to press second function and table. So once I have that table up there, I'm going to go with a -2 as the x, because x, it has to be greater than or equal to -2. So I'm going to start with -2, 1. I'm going to graph at -2, 1. And by the way, if it's or equal to, it has to be a closed circle. So -2, 1 is right here, and I'm going to make a nice closed circle. Then -1, 2, -1, 2 is right here. Then 0, 3 is right here. And then 1, 4 is right here. And then 2, 5. 2, 5 is right here. And we're going to put a closed circle and stop right there, because they just want in between these two. X has to be greater than or equal to -2, and x has to be less than or equal to 2. Both closed circles, and we're going to show that just by doing this and connecting the points and stopping there. Just like that. So this is the piece that they want. Now just take a look back out here. This is the full graph of f of x equals the absolute value of x plus 3. That's this graph right here. But this part, that what they're talking about at -2, x is greater than or equal to -2, and x is less than or equal to 2, is just this part, this section right here. And that's the section that we have there. So now what we'll do is that we're just going to go ahead and clear this out, because it just makes it a little bit more confusing leaving it in there. You could leave it in, but you know, I would just say to leave it out at this point right now. So we have another. Now this is linear function. This is not absolute value. So I'm going to press negative. And then I'm going to go to x plus 5. No absolute value. I'm going to press graph. All right, so that is the line that we have to graph, but we do have to graph it at x is greater than or equal to 4. So that's it. All right, greater than or equal to 4. So I'm going to move this over, and I'm going to press second function table, and I'm going to go down to 4, and I'm going to go a little bit further than that, and there's the 4 as the x. X is greater than or equal to 4. So I'm going to take 4, 1, 4, 1, and graph it. That is a closed circle because, again, it's the or equal to. It's included in this function. All right, then I'm going to go to 5, 0, and graph that. And 6, negative 1, and graph that. 7, negative 2, and we're going to go down just like this to 10, negative 5. I'm going to connect that, and I'm going to put an arrow. I'm going to extend it out just like that, and I'm going to put an arrow on the end here because it goes in that direction forever. So take a look at the graph. You see this line right here. That's the line that we graphed. But the thing is, it's only this piece that they wanted to see. All right? So that's the piece, and that's the piece over here of the absolute value function right here. And now I put the equations on both lines and the piecewise functions that we wanted, those pieces that we wanted to show. All right, it says evaluate f of 3. Just remember, every time that they give you something like this, this is the input, so that represents the x value. So when x is 3, what's the y? And that's what they're asking. So let's go to the graph. When x is 3, what is the y? So when x is 3, what's the y? Well, I'm going over the 3. There is no y. So what we could actually say is that there is an error. All right, and there is no y. There's no output for that input as part of the piecewise part of the piece that they wanted you to graph. All right, so even if you put it in this way, and this is how you would put the piecewise function in, because the graphing calculator has some limitations with the piecewise functions. You have to put it in as a fraction. So you put y equals and negative x plus 5 on the top part of that fraction. And then on the bottom part, as the denominator, you put x is greater than or equal to 4. If you press the graph, you'll see this little piece that we graphed right here is right here. But then if you press second function table, you'll see that for 3, there's an error. And the reason why it says error is because there's no output for that input. So that's the way you would do that. All right, but let's get to when x is 0. When x is 0, okay, what's the y? Well, you can see right from the graph, it's 1, 2, 3. So you would say it is 3 when x is 0. And then when x is negative 1, let's go over to negative 1. What's the y? It's 2. And that's how you would do that. Right? Hopefully that video did help you out with piecewise functions. I know it's a short video, but do yourself a favor, use the graphing calculator, graph it as normal. It's going to show you, the graphing calculator is going to show you the whole entire thing. And then just take a look at the piece that they want. Right? If this is a compound inequality, you read it from the middle out to the number, from the middle again out to the number to the right. Right, this is x is greater than or equal to -2, and x is less than or equal to 2. Right, remember the or equal to, you have closed circles. If it's just greater than or less than, then you would have an open circle. Right, and that's graphing piecewise with absolute value and linear functions. Thank you for watching.